By now, we all have a clear vision of what impact climate change has on our planet. Pushed by the Paris Agreement, the energy transition is here to stay. But even in the best case scenario, we still have an abundance of 1,500 gigaton of CO2. It took us humans 150 years to release it, and we need to take it out as soon as possible. 1,500 gigaton is difficult to imagine, but what about this? That's the same amount as is already stored by all plants and trees on Earth right now, on land and in the oceans. Oh, and did we forget to tell? That's because nature grows from CO2. So the challenge is clear. To clean up 1,500 gigaton, we only have to double nature. True, that sure is a huge challenge, but it can still be done, and often it's even a viable business case. And people like challenges, right? This one is energizing, that's a promise. The fact is, it must be done. And the good news is, it's already happening. Let's double nature.
Welcome everybody to this already 67th Double Nature Talk. My name is Sven Jensen. With me are Ilko Leemans and Bart van Beuzenkom. And live from Kenya, joining serial entrepreneur and ocean innovator, Magnus Willner. Good afternoon, Magnus. Or good morning.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, hello. Nice to see you there. And nice to be here in Kenya right now.
Great. We'll be with you in a second because this edition is a special one for two reasons. First, here in Amsterdam, we celebrate climate solutions at the We Are Warming Up Festival. Over there, you see the poster. Head to wearewarmingup.nl because you're all invited to join this Saturday to our workshop, Build a Bamboo Dome. And the second reason this is a special day is that as of today, with Magnus, with you, we are launching carbon removal certificates for your offshore research project called Arbon.Earth. But first, I'm here with an experienced captain of the oceans, Mr. Ilko Leemans. And Ilko, I heard you have even been sailing at the Rainbow Warrior, the first Greenpeace ship. Is that correct?
Well, it's almost correct,
oh.
Because the first Rainbow Warrior was built sometimes in the 70s, and it was attacked by the French Navy, by the French Secret Service, and it was sank in New Zealand. But then they built the second one. So I sailed as chief officer on the second Rainbow Warrior. And that was a long time ago, more than 30 years ago. A magnificent voyage, sailed all across the Pacific. And that's also that triggered for me to start working on healthy oceans. And, so we met 5 years ago or so.
Yeah.
And I decided to join Climate Cleanup as well.
From the beginning.
To work on ocean solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was really so important. So, being out there on the ocean, really seeing what's happening there, that is so vital. And I can imagine that, Magnus, that you feel the same. And that's
yes,
also...
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Bart,
and I also sailed...
Yeah?
Yeah, you continue.
We'll begin with your sailing story in a bit.
Yes.
Bart, you sail the land, no? You work on land, no?
I work on land, yes.
How's that?
How's that?
Yeah.
I think I'm right now reading Phosphorescence, and it's a beautiful book about hope. And right now I'm in the process where it goes, okay, we can nature bathe in green and blue. And blue because that's really the ancient cradle of life. That's where we can the bathing in the ocean, like experiencing the ocean and regenerating the ocean, really resonates with us on a cellular level. So I'm really excited about this specific project because I think it really has a lot of potential to regenerate the ocean, to contribute in that sense.
Live from France, I think, or not? Linda Vosjan, where are you? Where's Linda? No, you're not. You're in Amsterdam.
No, actually, I'm in the east of the Netherlands, in Frieseveen,
Ah, no way.
where it's all happening.
How are you, Linda? And who are with us today?
Well, we're with a group of intimacy. What's the word there? It's an intimate group, and but that's no problem because all great changes, big changes, start small. Don't you agree, Magnus?
Yes, definitely. All journeys start with the first step.
Yeah. And so I see our new colleague Kevin. We were very proud that he's been joining Climate Cleanup, and of course Honey and Laura. Yeah, Kevin. And that's it for the moment. But I'm trying to get the password to more people, because there are more people.
Yeah,
who
Alexander
subscribe.
Alexander Ebbing was just calling me. I forwarded him the login link. But before we will go, as a final thing, we would like to thank our ambassadors, as these talks are made possible by ambassadors, and you are all invited, if you're not an ambassador, to join Climate Cleanup as an ambassador. Please visit climatecleanup.org to join. Ilko, shall we? Shall we go to Magnus?
Yeah, that's a very good idea. Yeah. So Magnus, we've never met before. We've met online, but I've seen what you are sort of doing. But maybe for the others to say, so you're the co-founder of Arbon.Earth. Arbon.Earth. First, where are you now, and why are you there?
Yes, I'm Magnus Willner, co-founder of Arbon.Earth, and I'm here in Kenya right now. South from Mombasa, there is a lot of seaweed farmers growing seaweed near shore, and that's an excellent base for doing seaweed also offshore. So that's why I'm here to work with them. We have started experiments before, but now we can work more practical together.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I'm here.
Yeah.
Actually.
Could you tell us what's the whole idea behind Arbon.Earth?
It's doing our thing, our action to reverse the climate change. We believe all of us that it's very important to reduce our footprints in our normal lives as much as we can. But since it's not enough, we need to draw down more. And we are engineers and inventors, so found this methods of doubling nature and using fast-growing bamboo and macroalgae to draw down a lot of carbon dioxide from the air and put it in plants that can later on go down to the sea floor and be permanently stored there.
Okay, fascinating. So for the new ONCRA project, you sell carbon removal research certificates. Why research?
Yes, it's because that we are humble that all factors is not known yet. There's still much to learn, and we're using an iteratively approach to it. So we will research and learn more about both the biodiversity on the surface offshore when using this ocean pods, and also on the sea floor. And also we do research on how to scale it up, to scale up the logistic chains and so on. And also on what places is the best to do carbon capture offshore. So it's
So you say what place is the best, and now you're in Kenya. Is that one of the best places, or could you also do this in other places around the globe?
Yes. This March I was sailing over from Antwerp over to New York and Halifax, and then we conducted research offshore, just in the middle of between Europe and USA. So that's a good place also. It's there is many factors involved. It's the water temperature, distance to shore, and it's super many factors. And we are learning and building knowledge about this. So North Atlantic is a good place, and we believe here is a good place. And there is variants that can be done in different ways, depending on the number of months your floating devices are floating. And it's also related to the ocean currents that is affected by the winds.
Just
So
just to get a basic idea, like the concept is I have a pole of bamboo
yeah,
and I'm going to grow macro algae on that.
something like this. It's a bamboo pole around 2 meters,
Yeah.
and it has those compartments filled with air, so it floats very well. But it also has the thing that when it implodes, or after a couple of months, when it sinks, then the first air pocket implodes, and then it will sink some more, and then the next will implode, and then it will go straight down to the seafloor. So that is by design. And if using other types of wood, it has floating power, but it doesn't have such reduced floating power when it actually sinks. So that is one of the reasons for the bamboo, but also that it's a very fast-growing species.
Yeah, so the whole idea is to store carbon by sinking bamboo and other plant materials to the seabed, ocean bottom.
Yes, exactly.
Hmm.
And while doing that, we also try to do. We see that it creates a lot of micro nurseries. Since fish like this, they like they're attracted by something when they're swimming out in the big offshore. So they gather there, and it can become micro nurseries. So there will be more fish to the coastal communities and so on.
Oh, that's good. So it has actually different purposes. So the first purpose is when it's floating, it creates nurseries, etc., and a sort of a small floating ecosystem.
Yeah.
And the second part is storing carbon.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right.
And and actually, while being here, you see this heat here. It's immense, and while being in Northern Europe, normally it's we're not so heavily affected in our daily lives, maybe, but down here we can see the changes. It's becoming super hot.
Yeah.
But so for me, the next way is like you have the bamboo stick, and then what I understand, you put ropes on it.
Yeah.
With macroalgae seeds or spores, what are they? What do you put on?
Yes, there is many different methods that can be used for that. So, for example, in North Atlantic, we used speed gluing of spores. Normally, they when growing macroalgae near shore, they're using a spine method, where they grow spores on a very thin line and then attach the thin line to the heavy line that's attached to the seafloor with anchors and heavy equipment and so on to withstand the big waves. But since we're offshore, there is no, like the waves, as you probably can tell there, they are big, but maybe sometimes they are not breaking that hard. And since we're not attached to the seafloor with an anchor, if there come a wave, it pushes the whole package, so to say, to the side. And that means we don't need to have as strong rope and so on as you need to have when near shore.
Okay. So so this is you're in the research phase. Do you have any idea when you can expect to actually store carbon? Is that months, years?
Yes, we have already done in micro scale and for testing, of course. But during next year, we aim to scale it up so we can start the proper project together with Ankara and scale it up year by year. It increases more and more.
Good.
So 2024.
And how do you know it's actually stored for you?
Yeah, we will conduct research on the seafloor, and since it's high depth, we aim to have 1,000 meter plus. And for example, I was in Azores. We have a cooperation with Azores University. They have an excellent group of research for deep sea there. So they have camera systems that can work on those depths. That is not so super expensive, but and very efficient. So that's what we are planning to do. So we're recording and measuring data, both from surface and the seafloor. And we know from research, previous research, that some of the biomass that goes down to the seafloor, it goes down into the sediment and stays there for thousands of millions of years. And some is dissolved in the water, and that water gets some more CO2 in it, and it goes with the seafloor current. But since the ocean circulation on those big oceans are so huge, it's like 500 to 2,000 years. So it takes a very long time until carbon reaches the atmosphere.
Yeah. So I had a question, because in our intro video, it says we need to store 1,500 gigatons. So I was wondering, how do you see this to scale up, to really make a big dent in the climate change issue?
Yeah, good question. And we're starting small, but we have a modular approach that can use containers. So we can actually use existing infrastructure from partners. So when being out there, you see those huge ships, and the ship I was on, it had like 300 meter and had 2,000 containers. And for our first project there with Ankara, we need like 5 containers that is going back and forth during the project phase. And the oceans, they are so huge, they cover like 71% of the planet's surface. So we could accomplish great impact just from a little piece of that surface.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have a real seaweed expert in our group among the participants here, and he's raised his hand. But I have one last question for you. That is, what do you need, Magnus? What do you need to make this more successful, even?
Yeah, what we need is actually organizations that want to make an impact, that want to first, of course, reduce their footprints as much as they can, but then to start to have carbon removal as part of their plan towards net zero or a low footprint. So we need customers now. We're close to getting like operations and research project going. But everything costs, all the people that's involved, cutting bamboo, making seaweed, renting space on ships, etc. So now we need customers, and we also need people. As we grow, we'll need more people that love the ocean and really want to make impact.
Good.
Super exciting. I remember vividly when you entered our offices here in Amsterdam with like a bushel of bamboo, like, hey, I'm here. Tomorrow I'm off for the Atlantic. By the way, can we have coffee? And this spirit is really wonderful. And before we go to, and we think seriously that this is a spirit we need to reverse climate change and be very happy while doing it. Before going to Alexander, we'll super proud to share here at onsets.org, which is like the Ankara shop window. Currently, you can go to Arbon.Earth's offshore CDR research project, and as you indicated, all parties interested can just buy a smaller number of certificates and contact us to apply for 50 or more. And we're planning on selling them. You can get more information on the project even here, and a link to the Arbon.Earth website as well. So we're planning on selling these certificates before the year ends. Why not? On sets.org. Alexander.
Hello. Yeah, first of all, I want to say I really like the whole combination between Arbon.Earth and climate cleanup. Yeah, I think it's a match made in heaven. It's really cool. That being said, Magnus, because you're now in Kenya, and of course they work with very different seaweed species than we do in northwestern Europe. I mean, is it now primarily that you're going to focus on northwestern Atlantic species, or have you other species? And which species are there that you want to work with?
Yeah. So that's a good question there, Alex. And we usually work with Saccharina and Latissima and Alaria in the North Atlantic. But it's very important that we use local species wherever we do operation, also when we do operation in Northern Europe. So here there is Ulva, for example, but there is also, I think they said it was 400 different species of macroalgae here. So there is a lot, and using the different methods of sporation, we need to look into which one would be the best ones here, and also different ways to work with how to get as much biomass as possible on the ropes as easy as possible. So there's a lot of knowledge needed to make that happen, but I'm very happy that we have good partners to help out with that.
Great, thank you.
Maybe you have any suggestions, Alex, because you're a really great seaweed expert. You've been working with seaweed for a long time. So your help and ideas are of course welcome.
So now one of the things I'm sort of wrapping my head around in my mind is how the bamboo stick, because it floats, how it will function with different types of seaweeds, because the seaweeds all have their own kind of buoyancy. Especially when you go to the southern hemisphere, the seaweeds the kelp seaweeds, at least, the ones with the same life cycle as Saccharina and Alaria, like Macrocystis, which in biomass terms has the greatest potential. They also have floating buoys, pneumatocysts. And I wonder, have you already sort of thought about that future upcoming problem or challenge that you have with different kind of seaweed species, or is it too far into the future?
It's I think sometimes it might be easier to go very north or very south for biomass purposes. But we see it very, very intriguing to actually being able to create and help villages here in Africa, coastal villages, to actually to sell more and export things to Europe and USA, for example, of what they can. And it could be exported by creating negative tons carbon dioxide, so nothing has to be sent to Europe. And for those villages, there's some are super poor and some is more wealthy, of course, but it could make a really good social impact for them as well. But you're right, all the different species, they have their different buoyancy and so on. And of course, that need to be considered when both choosing the right spiration method. Since self-spirating could also be one method. But there could also be small portable labs maybe that could be used on site by villagers, or they could be using seedlings like they do currently usually here. So we're building like the book of knowledge about different methods, and the different methods would differ on different sites, we believe. And it's also when doing the LCA analysis and our own footprint for doing the operations, it's very important to source as local as possible, so we don't need to transport like bamboo far away and so on.
Yeah, I really like the bamboo idea. Just with the air pockets that naturally degrade and make it sinkable. It's a pretty cool concept, Magnus.
Yeah, it's we like it too, and also we try to use only natural material also in the rope, for example. So there is some new research going on there to test what ropes can work best and so on. Since normal nearshore seaweed farming sometimes use heavier ropes that last many more years, but maybe that's not needed here.
And last question from my side then. But the bamboo, do you know how long it takes before it sort of gets negatively buoyant? Do you already have indications to that or not yet?
So we're trying to have it float, the whole package float for around 4 to 6 months. So we can optimize the growth on the lines. And so then there is different methods we can use to fine tune the floating. So if you're in an area and want to do this and it's still 1,000 meter depth and so on, but there is shore that is surrounding it, for example, in Asia somewhere, then it's possible to use other methods to have a shorter floating time.
Magnus, I just had a thought about the rope, because we've also been working on the issue of sargassum floating up on the islands in the Caribbean, and trying to find a way to use this. And I think they have really now quite good fibers. So would it be possible to make rope out of the sargassum that's washing up on the coast there, and to use it for those for your work?
That would be an excellent idea. That we need to look into. That would be great. And what we see here in Kenya is that sisal, that's a plant they've used very much to create sisal rope. But currently there is less need for that on the market. So that might also be a very good opportunity, since there are huge fields of sisal here. But sargassum sounds promising, since that's also a big problem in the mid-Atlantic, for example. And
Okay, so after this session, we will immediately dive into our big bag of sargassum and spin some rope out of it.
Yeah.
Why not? I'm looking forward to that and to much more. Thank you so much, Magnus, for sharing your dreams with us today. Let's make them real. And I also want to thank the audience for listening in or watching or coming. And we hope to see you this Saturday at the We Are Warming Up Festival, or at the next Double Nature Talk. And if you want to help us reversing climate change, please either hit on to onset.org and let's sell those research certificates, or we would also love to see you join as an ambassador. For that, visit climatecleanup.org. And we hope to see you soon.
Yes, and last but not least, Magnus,
thank you very much. Yes.
My mother is turning 80 next weekend, and I'm going to buy her an onset, one of yours, as a gift, a birthday gift for her 80th birthday.
Wow.
That's a very good thing, and it's a great idea, and it's also a fantastic concept of people becoming more and more aware of becoming reducing footprint or becoming net zero. And maybe even some people that goes 80 or 90, maybe they want to be lifetime net zero, take some of their assets to become lifetime net zero.
Yeah.
That would be cool to see who will be the first.
Yeah.
My dad. I already have that contract.
As I told you before, there's one person climate positive in the audience. Well, he's not in the audience, but indirectly he is, because it's the son of Sven, his oldest son. Eddie Wijnker gave him a birthday present. Eddie Wijnker is an olivine entrepreneur. And he gave a couple of years ago the youngest son of Sven, the oldest, sorry, Lovell, lots and lots of olivine, which has been spread somewhere in the Netherlands. We should take a look on his heat map. And so Lovell is climate positive, and he's now 7 years old.
Yes, turning 8 in December.
Yeah, so he's the only person I know
Who is
that's
positive. Oh.
done what we all should do.
And I think a good thing to do is to, maybe if you're not becoming net zero this year, how about doing as the companies, decide a year when you will be it. For example, if you will be it like 3 years from now, then you can go to footprint calculator, WWF, for example, or GoLow, and get your current footprint, and then divide it. So first year you take a third, next year it takes 67%. So that could be a way to start. But first reduce footprints, and then start to do some carbon removal.
Yeah, do it all together. Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you.